All right, so let's have a conversation about this thing that we call middleware. All right, so we've already discussed how a client talks to a server, right? So the client sends a request to the server parses that request, does some work with it, builds a response, and returns that response back to the client, right? Well, a lot of times there's some work that we need to do somewhere between where the request is received by the server and when we actually handle the request and send it back and send back the response. All right, and this is what we call middleware. Middleware allows us to do things like apply authentication, access cookies, handle sessions, and any type of manipulation for the request that we want to do before it's passed to the handler. All right, so for Express actually implements a middleware component called Connect. And Connect is a module that we'll use in this class to implement some middleware to support our applications. All right. Some of the components we'll take a look at is what we call static, which allows the Express server to stream static files with the GET request. The Express logger, which allows us to log requests to the servers, log and track those requests, very important. Basic auth connect, which allows us to handle HTTP authentication. All right. The cookie parser, which allows us to read cookies from a request and set cookies in the response. Cookie-session, which provides cookie-based session support. Express session, which is a really good session implementation for our applications. Body parser, which parses JSON data in the body of the post request into the request body property. Compression, which provides gzip compress support for large responses to a client. And CSRF, which provides a cross-site request forgery protection. All right. Generally, if you want to, you already should know how to install additional modules, which we've seen. So npm install is something you'll see as we progress through this module. Generally, we assign middleware to routes. All right. And in order to assign to routes, we implement what's called the app.use method, which you saw earlier. All right, and that's a method on the Express app object. You saw that earlier in the Express application lab. All right, the general format is Express, require Express, and require the module that we want to, the middleware module that we want to use, create an instance of the Express object, and then call app.use and assign that middleware to a route. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. See if we can find one. Let's just write one. All right, so here we require Express. All right, so let's require the body parser module. All right, so require body-parser. So you would also need to npm install body-parser in order to get access to this, and make sure you modify your package.json file to reflect that we're including this module. All right. So if we wanted to assign body parser to a particular route, we would use this syntax here. So we say app.use. I'm sorry. And for the main route, we're going to assign body parser. All right. And that's all to it. So this would assign the body parser to the root path for the application. All right. We can also assign middleware to a single route. All right. So if we want to assign it to a single route, we could define the route and then pass that or assign that function, body parser, to that function. All right, so taking this function that we have here, we would assign body parser to that right before we handle that request. So this is going to execute what body parser does, which, remember, I said body parser parses JSON data in the body of the post. It's going to do that before it handles the request. Okay. We also can add multiple middlewares and assign them to routes. All right. So we would do something like this. Here we're applying body parser. Here we're going to also, well, let's import some additional ones first. All right, so let's get cookie parser as well. All right, so that gives us the cookie parser. And let's apply that. All right, so that's going to apply the cookie parser for us. All right, and we can include any more modules that we want to use. So let's do session. Again, remember that you need to npm install these. See if I can remember what it is. C Express. All right, and this is applying it to all the routes. All right, now keep in mind here that the order in which we assign the functions is the order in which they're applied during the request. All right, so in this case, body parser will be applied first, then cookie parser, then session. All right, so that's our brief introduction to what middleware is. In the additional lectures, we will start looking at some individual middleware components. Take care.